and excuse me, and as Gina said, she's made so many trips back and forth from Florida to here to do it. And of course, Jean has been, I guess, president 6 times. I don't know.
She can't count either.
And then there was Gail. And I have to tell you about Gail. Gail is an active member, as you might know. And I have talked to that woman for years and said, Gail, you don't do it. Don't do it. And she'd nod and smile. No, I won't do it. And the next thing I knew, they'd say, now who would like to be president next year? And
And Aileen would be sitting across the way going.
There was no way of stopping her. Well, a little about how all this came about. First of all, I'll tell you a little bit how I got involved with MFA. To begin with, my husband and I had moved here from the San Francisco Bay Area, from Lafayette, just out of Berkeley, and he took a job in Washington, and we moved to Annapolis because we had sailed in the bay, and we wanted to be near the water again. Well, he went to work, and then I started thinking about what was I going to do. We'd never been that far from home. I wanted to do something with art, and in the paper there was an announcement about Anne Arundel Arts Association wanting volunteers. I thought that sounded good, and I called, and they said, oh yes, come in. Or rather, she said that. And when I got there was a lone woman, and she said, oh, she was so happy to see me, and she needed a volunteer. And in the room right next to her was tons of envelopes and stuff to put in the envelopes. And so I spent all day doing that. And then I called her and I said, you know, this just isn't for me. I want to do something a little bit better. In the meantime, I started walking around my new town, and I passed this little gallery on the State Circle, and I thought, oh, this looks wonderful. I'll go in there and check. And there was at that point, the desk, which was reception and everything, was right next to the stairs coming into the gallery. And there was an older woman sitting there, and I asked her about it, and she said, yes, there are 3 types of memberships. The first was patron, and that was a person who gave money. The second was special artists. I don't know what the initial was for that, but these were artists that had shown in a lot of juried shows, and they had this status. The third was just a member. Well, at that point, I didn't really think I was ready for anything, so I thanked her and went home. But not too much longer after that, there was an ad that this gallery on the Circle, the Maryland Federation of Art, was looking for a curator. And I read the word curator, and I thought, oh my gosh, that must be a very huge job. I don't think I'm capable of anything like that. But I thought I'll give it a try anyway. So I went up and was interviewed by Al Crawl. Does anyone remember him? He was a professor of art at the community college. Mel Merritt, who was a contractor, Pat McCold, who many of you might know, and Joanne Scott, who is fairly well known in the area at that time. And anyway, I did get the job. And it was fun, and I forgot and didn't worry about being a curator. They just called me Aileen. And that, so, anyway, I was just trying to, excuse me, to think of what to do, because I was getting kind of lonely in that gallery. Not that many people came in, and I wondered what could be done, and I suddenly thought, well, maybe there could be an official group of helpers that could help me. That was the main purpose. So, anyway, I gathered together a good friend, and Jackie Hildebrand, who many of you might know, she was a potter at that time, and I think Marie Linnigan, who has since passed away, really fine artist. Anyway, we all got together and figured out that there should be a Friends organization, and we checked with the board of the MFA and all, and they thought that was a good idea too. So there was a lawyer, a young lawyer, who just graduated from law school, and he was pressured into putting together articles of incorporation, and the fact that we were a nonprofit organization. So we then had our first meeting, and we had about 6 people, but that was an answer to an ad in the Capitol, and that was okay. It was a start. Then what happened was that one day a naval officer came into the gallery, and we started chatting, and he was very interested in art, and he had just been assigned to the Academy for Public Relations, and he'd come from the San Francisco area, so we had a lot in common. But he was very interested in art, and he joined our little group, and that was the beginning of things. He was marvelous with public relations and ideas and all things to get us going. Actually, he was the one who named the Holly Gallery. He came up with that in honor of Charles Holly, who was the founder of MFA many years ago. But our first event was an auction that we put on at the Smithsonian's Environmental Center down in Edgewater, and it was very successful, and fun for all to know that Nancy Hammond's first piece of work was sold at that, and it was a painting, I believe in oil. I'm not sure, but I do remember it was of Spa Creek. So we were off to start there, and then next we planned a trip to New York to see the Picasso show, and we served breakfast on the bus and stayed at the Barbizon Plaza, Central Park, went to the show, had a catered dinner on the bus coming home, and it was very successful, and we made some money on it too. But from then on, the Friends gathered people, and at one point we had 60 members. But that was before so many of the younger people were working too, and we had a lot of people that were interested in art. We passed the word along, and we did have so many wonderful trips. Our top one, probably one of the top one, was to the Observatory Hill to see Joan Mondale's collection of pottery. We were able to go through her entire house, something that probably would never happen today, to be able to have that. But we did so many things in our trips, and it was wonderful. I was going to mention something that some of you may not know. There are about 3 major things looking back to my days with the MFA, and I think one was the fact that MFA was particular members, and I don't know if Joe Machinchik is here.
Yes.
Are you here? It is Annette here?
Yes.
Okay, you two may remember that you probably were involved in starting the Annapolis Watercolor Show, or club.
Yeah, Annette
Yeah.
and Joan were.
And also, MFA, certain members of MFA were very instrumental in starting Maryland Hall. They worked very hard, and I think it had something to do with the hiring of the first executive director there. So that was something that happened. But the major and awful thing that did happen was a letter from the IRS that they were going to take away the tax-free status that we did have, and what to do. And at that point, my husband was able to get the lawyer from his association to take it on pro bono, and they did take it on. And I know that Jackie Hildebrand and some of the other members would go into Washington to his office and work on it. Well, we did get it. We got it. We retained it. They were able to work it out through his office and all. And the interesting part was that there were some on the board of MFA that really thought we would do better to go with some local attorney. But the attorney we worked with turned out to be a White House lawyer, so and had his cases in front of the Supreme Court. So we had the benefit of the very best. And but at that time was the Aurora Gallery was born because 4 of our members dropped out to start that gallery, and that was Kathy Frisch, Myra Kopis, Gino Pillar, and who was the first one? Dorothy Venus. Yeah, that one. And I don't know what's happened to the gallery now.
Gone.
Gino Pilla very sadly passed away not too long ago. But getting on with the Friends had their annual picnic every year. Sometimes we went swimming. We were much livelier then. You didn't see any walkers and sticks or
They don't
games.
make them like that
Yeah.
anymore.
No, and we even looked pretty good in bathing suits. But that was a while ago. And there may be some pictures in the book that Clark has put together. Who knows? You may recognize yourself.
Or maybe not.
So, but sadly through the years, we found that more of the younger women are going to work. We were getting older, and there didn't seem to be a lot of future for us. So
Here we are.
So
Here we are.
And so here we are,
Yeah.
walkers, sticks, everything with us today. But so happy to be here and so appreciate Joan's hospitality again and a chance to be with all of you. I can't see you, but I can feel you and hear you, and that's good.
We're so happy that Is there a better memory than what she has? Yeah, I think she surprises herself sometimes. Thank you so much. Yes. Okay, moving